I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
Here we go, kiddos. It's another edition of the Daily Puck Drop. It is your daily sports podcast that wows you every single day. We welcome you into a Tuesday edition of the show. Adam Silver's going to chat later tonight. We'll preview what we think Adam Silver is going to say later tonight in Las Vegas, if he's going to say anything at all that is going to be pertinent to the return of the Sonics in Seattle. Tim Booth has got boots on the ground. I've been texting with Tim this morning, just trying to get some intel on what can potentially come out later this evening there in Las Vegas. BFT Unfiltered, John Canzano, the brand new YouTube star, will join us here in a few minutes. We'll get the very latest there with John and all things happening in sports, all brought to you by our good friends there at Flat Stick Pub. Our old friend from across the pond, Rob Staton, Seahawks Draft Blog.com is going to stop on by. We are getting closer and closer to the start of the NFL season in person. Nobody better to talk to as we get ready for the Seahawks than our guy, Rob Staton. So we'll talk to Rob just about some of the offseason storylines surrounding the Seahawks. Obviously, the big news with the ownership change, with the recent group taking over Coastline. So we'll get his thoughts on that, whether it was a good move or a bad move. You know what? Here's the thing. Who knows if it was a good move or bad move? Nobody knows. I don't know. The only thing, the tongue-in-cheek thing I said yesterday was, could they just not have found someone that at 5 years old was growing up to be a Niners fan? That's it, but I'm just being a smartass. Steve Ballmer bid. We'll get into that maybe before we talk to Canzano, or maybe a little bit later there in the show, because there was a little bit of a nugget that came out. I talked to Mark Gannis, who is the founder and president of Sports Co., or Sports Corporation, which is a consulting firm that works with leagues and works with professional teams in terms of the finances and business operations of sports, and generally dealing with sometimes relocation, stadium deals, anything that comes with the financial aspect of sports. And Mark's a good friend of Mike Garafolo, so Garafolo would put me in touch with Mark, and we recorded it yesterday. And it's up right now for Puck's Posse members. So we just made it exclusive for them. If you want to join, pucksports.com. You don't have to join, by the way. It's only if you want to. And if you'd like to hear it and you're like, listen, I don't think you're worth $5. Many of you would agree with that. I agree with that myself. Send me an email and we'll make it work for you. Puck@pucksports.com. I'll play a little snippet of it where he discusses whether or not Steve Ballmer ended up making a bid, or was there any discussions at all between Steve Ballmer and the Paul Allen group. So we'll get into that just a little bit later. Before we talk to John Canzano, lots to cover there with Canzano here on this Tuesday show. As always, we have to thank our sponsors. We've got to thank Limback Lumber. We could not do this without the support of Limback Lumber. We're in the Limback Lumber studios. They offer free deliveries, everything from whole house packages to homeowner do-it-yourself projects, largest stock moldings in the Northwest. Old school service. They've been doing it since 1930. Give them a call at 206-782-3487, or you can visit them online at limbacklumber.com. You can visit me on all the social media platforms. Boy, it's a great spot. Huh? Agree to disagree. Open dialogue where people treat each other with respect. Social media. Puck Sports everywhere except for TikTok. It's a Puck_sports. And as I mentioned before, you can click on the QR code on your screen if you're watching, or you can just go visit pucksports.com. There you can see access and links to all of our podcast platforms, but also at the very top you can see a place where you can sign up to become a Puck's Posse member if you would like. You don't have to, but if you'd like, pucksports.com. As I mentioned before, NBA meeting in Las Vegas, happening later tonight. Adam Silver is going to speak, talking with Tim Booth of the Seattle Times. He says he doesn't expect much to be revealed tonight when Adam Silver does this kind of state of the NBA. He does this all the time. this has nothing specifically geared towards expansion. It's just Adam Silver always talks at the Summer League. He just does this every year. Maybe he'll have some new information. I don't know. We'll find out. I have zero clue. Tim is there covering it just in case he does say something, but doesn't feel like anything of significance will come out of it later tonight. I guess the only thing that would be left up in the air when it comes to expansion, the NBA, it would just be from a Vegas perspective. I think we know what Seattle's ownership group is. It will clearly be a group that is going to be led by Samantha Holloway. That we did know. But it's also going to be a group that is going to include Melinda Gates. That she just recently joined the group, and now she is going to be, and it feels she will probably be the bigger money that is behind the pursuit there of the NBA there in Seattle. So maybe we get a little bit more coming out because the situation in Vegas is kind of up in the air. There's got like 4 different groups that are up for it. Most recently is the group led by Bill Foley, who is part of the group with the Vegas Knights. So they think that might be the best one, turnkey, because they already have the building. He would renovate T-Mobile. Boom, there you go. You don't have to build a new arena. And then you've got your team. You got the Knights playing in there, and then whatever you're going to call the basketball team. But, by the end of the year, we should get a firm date on what's going to transpire. And you heard Adam Silver, I think it was a week or two, more than a week or two ago, a few weeks ago, mentioning that I think he mentioned 28. 28 would be the year that they are targeting right now. I think he said that with Dan Patrick. All right. Every Tuesday, we catch up with our media star. I mean, he is everywhere now. I'm surprised he's still doing this every week. There will be a time where he says it's not worth it anymore. You're just small fish here. I'm a big fish in a big, big pond, and I don't need you anymore. And he's going to do it. I know he is, and that's fine. And I'm just waiting for the day where he says, no mas. But we've got him right now. John Canzano, BFT Unfiltered. You can catch it up on YouTube. Joins us next, all brought to you by Flat Stick Pub. If it's fun you desire, it's fun you're going to get at Flat Stick Pub. It doesn't matter what the occasion is, whether it's date night, guys night, ladies night, or large group event, Flat Stick Pub's got you covered. They have 6 great locations across the Pacific Northwest, from Pioneer Square to Kirkland, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. All locations offer the best pub experience in Washington. 2 rules at Flat Stick Pub: drink local and have fun. Pretty simple. So if you like to have fun, love local beer, and great tasting food, make Flat Stick Pub your next spot. Visit them at flatstickpub.com. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the star of the BFT Unfiltered show on YouTube. New episodes Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you get exclusive episodes on all audio platforms there. On, of course, the big hitters would be Apple and Spotify. And he carves out just a little time for us here on Tuesdays from the, what are we called? Is it the Adidas Studios, or do you have a name for the studio?
Yeah, I think we reserve the right to sell those naming rights. Should we not? Should we call it the Puck Sports Studio?
Sure, if you want. You can call it whatever you want. The Fireplace Studio. Can we get the fireplace working? Is it gas or real? I don't even know if
it works. I don't even know if it works. I haven't even tried it, but how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing? Right when you started the show, I went off on vacation.
Yeah.
And I've been following from afar. How's the first few weeks been of launching the new program?
Look, first of all, I got a really good team around me. I got a bunch of young people who are cooler than me, who are showing me some new things. But I think it's been fun. You know this, like, you got to stay fluid. You got to stay mercurial. You got to adapt. So, I'm trying to do all things at once, and this new show is good. It's been a lot of fun. Got a lot of support from Adidas and Jamba, 2 sponsors, but, really, really good guests. We had Trent Bray on the other day. He spilled his guts about getting fired, and that was kind of crazy.
I listened to that somewhere over the Atlantic. It was really good. Yeah, he was real open and real honest. I think it was interesting. I will get into more of it in a little bit, but well, good. That's it's been fun. How many people do you have working behind the scenes? I'm just trying to see how much.
Just a few. I got a handful of people. Yeah. Trusted. I got a lot of people. I got
a dog and a couple.
I collect
dogs
people.
And some cats.
I collect people. Look, I was in Dick's Sporting Goods. Okay, true story. I'm in Dick's Sporting Goods, cashier at Dick's Sporting Goods. starts talking to me. I said, hey, I kind of liked his energy. I liked that he's hardworking. He was real helpful. I was buying some dumbbells, and he was offering to carry him to the car. I'm like, I don't need that. Do I look like I need help carrying these dumbbells? But I ended up hiring that guy. I said, hey, I can find something for you to do. You can paint walls. You can edit video. I just liked his energy. He had good energy. So I got a bunch of people like that working behind the scenes.
And he took you up on it?
Yeah, of course. Left in a heartbeat.
He left Dick's to join the Canzano empire. What type of healthcare and benefits do you have over there at the Canzano empire?
There's no benefits.
Is there a 401k that
Love of the game,
be a
baby.
part of it?
Love of the game operation is what it is.
It's funny.
But I learned from you. Look at you, man. You're evolving. You're doing this. You were doing this before I started doing it. Come on. I looked over at you and I went, okay, that looks like fun. So
it is weird though. I still make a ton of mistakes, and it's been almost 2 years of you transition from doing radio, which is live. And I know this is live and we're doing it, but the percentage of people that are watching or listening to this live, is minimal compared to the people that watch and listen to it later. And I have to remind myself of that constantly. Yeah. Like one habit that I finally beaten out of myself was resetting the guest all the time. Because in radio, you've got to reset. John Canzano's with us here on the blah, 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 blah. And I don't do that as much anymore, but I will fall into that. Just
here's another one. So the show is Monday, Wednesday, Friday on YouTube. And then Tuesday, Thursday was podcast. It's an hour each day. And then I had my radio affiliates who said, hey, could we carry a simulcast to that? And so we are working through that. So I think it will be on some stations in Oregon that, if people want to hear it, it'll be syndicated still. So it'll still be a radio show. But I think, it's like you're trying to meet the audience where they are.
Right.
And you can't be one of these people that's sitting around when social media comes around and go, oh, no, I'm not going to adapt to that. The world's too... Just go with it, man. Just go with it. It's fun. I'm having fun with it, and people seem to get it, which is cool.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. I'm gonna warn you right now, and I appreciate all the shots I get. When you find it that because it's different than when you were in radio, because when you would leave to go on vacation, right, someone would fill in for you, right?
Yeah.
Well, no one fills in when I leave on vacation, or no one fills in.
Yeah.
And I'll get this, really? Vacation?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey man, F you. Like it's in the summer. Like, am I not allowed to take a vacation?
Why don't you get a guest host? Why don't you have the ghost guy come in there?
First of all, that would not happen.
You think he'd burn the place down?
Well, no, he couldn't do it. I can't. It takes the energy that I wish people could see behind the scenes to just get him to come on once or twice a week. To get it to work is beyond comprehension for the average viewer. And then other than that, I micromanage too much. I do everything. I would have to sit there and explain to someone.
I'm with you.
Here's all the things that you need to do on a daily to get this up, and they'd be like, "How much am I going to get paid? How about a gift card?" Yeah. And they would say, "No thanks."
It's interesting you say that because I have a kid. I call her a kid. She's in her 20s. She's a former news reporter at KEZI in Eugene who was between jobs. And I said to her, hey, do you want to come on and we'll do a segment called Olivia Reads the News? And it's at the end of every episode. And, she's younger, cooler than me, whatever. And she said to me about 2 episodes in, she said, because I really want to be hands-on with the production and the editing of it because I have a vision for what the show's supposed to be, as you do with your show. And so I said, no, right now I don't need help with that. She's doing some social media and stuff. And she says, nobody sees it like you see it, do they? And I go, you're right. You're damn right. Because like you, if I'm going to fail, I want to fail doing it my way. Okay.
Well, I'm already failing. I know that. I just don't want it. My point would be, my issue is always, I know it's failing. I fail every day. I don't want to bring somebody else down with me.
That's not the objective.
I don't want somebody else to ruin their life and career. I'll ruin my own.
It drove my radio people that were around me at radio crazy because, as you know, there's a way that they like to do things and they've always done it. And for 100 years, this is how they've done it in radio. And you have to reset the brakes. You have to.
Yeah.
And I broke every rule. And I didn't talk about the things that they wanted me to. You need to talk more NFL. I'm like, we don't have an NFL team here.
But you got to talk NFL. It's NFL all the time.
I can't talk NFL the way I can talk about the things that I know. And so it drove people crazy, but somehow they tolerated me for 20 years, not because they liked me, Puck, but because the advertisers were there, the audience was there, the revenue was there. They hated me, but they tolerated me because I made them money. And so now it's like, I'm going to do it my way. Like I'm going to succeed or fail. It'll be the show that I want to do.
Like somebody, I had not just one person, but a lot of people on Monday's show just get on me and Jim about, God, you guys talked 30 minutes about your trip to Spain and watching a bullfight. I mean, just boring. And I'm like, I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? Like, I don't know. It's
talk about what you know.
I work for myself, and it's just what we wanted to talk about. I'm sorry. And I just always respond, thank you. It's not for everyone. That's always my go-to line. It's not for everyone. I appreciate it. But yeah, if this was back in radio, I'd been pulled into a program director's office and be like, what are you doing? Can we not get it? I know it's July, but can we start breaking down the Seahawks backups?
Right.
Because that's what people want to hear.
I think you have to talk about and write about what you know. And I think, you can do it in a way that no one else can do. And that's why people are, come to your show, and maybe it's why they come to mine. So I think, nobody wants to hear me talking about, Lance Armstrong. And I can't give you a unique viewpoint on Lance, but I can tell you this Tom Dundon Blazers thing is wobbling. I can tell you that there's some real concern that he has no intention of keeping the team here. And this whole putting his family's name on the Stanley Cup. Give me a break.
What was that?
Terrible.
Tell people, hold on. Tell people this story, because I just saw this when I was traveling back home. I saw this on social media. So Tom Dundon, for those who don't know, of course, new owner of the Blazers, but also is the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes. And you put your names on the Stanley Cup. What did he do?
So you have every organization has a limit of 55 names that they can put on the cup. You have 55 names that you can etch there that'll be there in perpetuity, forever. And it's not unprecedented that the owner would put maybe his family, the Dundon family, as part of one of the 55 entries. That's been done before. Okay. But what Tom Dundon did was unprecedented. There's 6 members in his family. He's got a bunch of kids and a wife. He put all of their names on. He left players who contributed and scored goals and had points this season off the Stanley Cup because he ran out of room. It flies in the face of tradition. I said from the beginning, this is not a holistic guy. He made his money in subprime automobile loans. He's not a holistic person.
Yeah.
They were trailing Vegas 3-0 in one of the games in the second period. He left the arena, took off, went home, went back to Carolina. They came back, tied the game. So he's taken some heat from that. You kind of get a sense of who he is from that. But he's now negotiating with the city and the state in Portland. And more and more, I'm having people whisper to me that they don't think he even really wants to make a deal, that he just kind of wants this thing to spin. He avoids paying an expansion fee. He can relocate the team. I think there's a growing concern in Portland that a Clay Bennett Part 2 is happening here.
Okay, so who's to blame for this? Does this not come down to Adam Silver and the owners for allowing this guy to join their club?
He is, and I keep saying, why Tom Dundon? Why did he get into this club? Because there's a certain cachet you have to own a sports team. You see it with the Seahawks sale this week. There's a level of cachet there and clout with the Sun Microsystems and the family that's involved in this. I don't think the Seahawks could have done better. But when it came to the Blazers, I think the market was really soft. I kept hearing that, that there were only 2 bidders that were serious. The second offer was at $4 billion. Dundon came in at $4.25 billion. He didn't have the money, though. It was evident right away. I mean, remember, we talked about this. He came out right away, made a news release. He has the option to buy the team. And I was like, why is he doing that? You don't see that. Right now, you don't see the Seahawks ownership group going, hey, we have the option to buy the team. No, they're buying the team. They're waiting for approval. And so what Dundon was doing is he was trying to raise money. He was signaling to everybody, hey, if you want to own a part of this NBA team, you got to come to me. So it tells you he doesn't have the lettuce to get this thing done. And then you look at his money, his net worth on paper, and you go, okay, he's got wealth that you would want, Puck. He's got wealth that anybody in this audience would want. But he doesn't have the wealth that this ownership group that's buying the Seahawks have. He doesn't have the Paul Allen type money. He doesn't have Ballmer money. He just has enough to kind of be the majority owner minimally and scrape through this. And so then he used private equity. He used local investment. And then what? He still only had 80% of the money. So why did they let him in the room? I don't think they had a better offer. I think that the backup offer was not a good one. I think they were looking around going, this is not good for the owners of the league if you can't sell this team and get a good number for it. So I think they wanted $4.25 billion. They got it on paper, but he only owns 80% of the team, or his group owns 80% of the team. I think Dundon's got 15% stake in this team. I think he has the absolute minimum that the NBA will allow. And he used other people to get the deal done. And I think now there's a real threat here that if he doesn't get everything that he wants, that he is going to go and try to move this team. And one of the provisions he has floated to the city, this has not been made public yet, is that Dundon even suggested that the city of Portland, the state of Oregon, should cover any losses he might have as the owner of the Blazers in order to move forward. That he would be asking the city not only to come up with the money for the arena improvements, but to cover any capital losses that his group incurred. That is unheard of. It's unprecedented. And there are some people, there's some key stakeholders here who are telling me they're not sure he's really at the table here negotiating. And I think that's a concern.
So does this then fall back on Jody Allen and Bert Hold of their group of allowing their trust to sell it to this guy? And I go back to Phil Knight. Was Phil Knight not interested in buying the team, or was he?
Phil Knight was 100% interested in buying this team. He lowball offered out of the gate, but the right move, and I do think Jody holds blame here. The right move for Jody when Phil made that offer initially was to pick up the phone and call Phil Knight and say, hey, team's not for sale yet. It's going to be for sale. Would love for you to be involved. But the fact that Knight went public, Knight and Alan Smolinski, the Dodgers co-owner, went public with their bid, tells me that they were trying to get a hold of Jody and she wouldn't pick up the phone. So they went public to try to leak it, put some pressure on her to maybe to play ball with them, and she did not. Instead, what did she do? She got her both middle fingers out and did a news release saying team's not for sale, might not be for sale for 10 or 20 years. Basically, you're 88, go pound sand. And so then what did Phil Knight do? He took his lieutenant, Larry Miller, the former president of the Blazers and the Nike executive. He's in charge of the Jordan brand. He sent Larry Miller to the New York Post. They did a big story about what a bad owner Jody is, all the skeletons that are in the closet. Larry's quoted widely in that. This was billionaire on billionaire crime that was going on, and we were kind of all watching it. So what happens? Blazers are finally for sale. Within days, Phil Knight says, I'm no longer a bidder. And oh, by the way, I'm giving $2 billion to cancer research here in the state of Oregon. He basically took himself off the table, said, I'm not going to let you use me for leverage because you didn't want to play ball in the first place. So yes, Jody holds some blame here because an ownership group that had Phil Knight involved would have definitely been anchored to Portland, would have felt like the pull of keeping the team here. This would not be a thing right now. And I think you could have even left Phil Knight on the table to be part of Dundon's group. Like, hey, come in with, $1 billion late. You keep the team in Portland. That would have worked for everybody. So I do think, talk about not being holistic. Jody and Bert wanted maximum dollars. They also got, I'm told, a bonus based on the sale from the estate. It was part of the deal that they would get a sort of a fee to help execute the sale of the team. And so I think they walked away with some money here. And oh, by the way, the estate still owns 20% of the team until 2028. So this is really not as clean and easy and fun as this Seahawks sale that we're seeing go down.
It is just so weird when it comes to that group and her in particular, how different the both cities view them.
Yeah.
Because up here, she is considered a queen, a saint. And down there, I know it's the complete opposite.
Well, but she's a Seattle kid, right? Like she grew up there. Those are her friends. She's not going to go and do something with the Seahawks that's going to tick off her social circle. All these billionaires care about is their legacy, their perception, their next dollar, the circle they run in. So I think Jody has been a very different owner, or was a very different trustee in Seattle than she was in Portland. She's raising the flag. She's hanging out with her friends at the game. She's really happy. She's excited. You know, I think at Blazer games, she looked like, you know, it was torture for her to be sitting on the baseline, you know, enduring Portland. And we all know that. Like there's a little brother, big brother thing going on with Portland and Seattle anyway. And so on top of that, you have Jody, I think, kind of looking down her nose at Portland. And I think people in Portland, for that reason, never embraced her.
Okay, so you debuted the BFT Unfiltered brand new YouTube show, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, by the way.
Yep.
Do you have a specific time when it comes out, or does it just come out?
It comes out when we finish it, but usually we try to get it done by noon. We try to get it done by noon.
Can you put that on a T-shirt? BFT Unfiltered. It comes out when we fucking tell you it comes out.
Hey, when it's done, it's done.
All right. You debuted July 1st, right, which was the first day of the new Pac-12, and everyone's excited about it, and then they just completely dropped the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
Who is advising them to not have a media day? I just don't understand that. They can come up with anything they want to tell me and the audience and fans of this new conference of saving money. You're a new conference. Get out in front of it. Bring back people that are associated with Washington State and Oregon State. Celebrate it, the rebirth of a conference. And they're just like, no, we're not going to do it. What a huge opportunity lost.
They were looking to save money. I think what they could have done is they should have done a, hey, we're back conference media day. Hold it at the Pac-12 Enterprises headquarters at Bishop Ranch in the Bay Area. Do something. You don't have to go to Vegas and spend $500,000. And that's what their concern was. They said, hey, look, to rent out a room, to go to Vegas, to fly the players and the coaches in, they said it's $500,000. And they said, we'd rather take that $500,000 and use it in other ways. Okay, let's see what they do with it. And they also believe there are some people in the Pac-12 footprint, and this is not just the headquarters, this is the schools themselves. The schools believe that these media days don't really reach the people that they want to reach. And so they're saying, look, we're going to do local media days, and local media in Pullman and Boise and Corvallis will be invited to kind of talk with the coaches and the players. But we're not going to do a big shebang, because we just don't think that the national media is going to show up the way that they show up for the Big Ten and the SEC. So what's the point of putting the party on?
Well, you reach out to them. You tell whoever the big hitters are in media covering college football, and you invite them. You wine and dine them.
You know what they did? Teresa Gold and Rick Hart, her deputy commissioner, they went to Dallas during the Big 12 media days, Frisco, Texas Big 12 media days last week. And they had meetings with some of the national media members off-site. So they kind of piggybacked on it. But I told him, I said, you look like you're hanging out outside the, Alaska Airlines VIP lounge at the airport, asking people like, hey, let's talk on the way in and out. I don't think it's a great look for the conference. I think they can overcome it, but it's not what you and I would have done. I think we would have thrown some sort of event, some sort of party announcing the launch. Yeah.
I was disappointed. I'm not it's not the biggest thing on the calendar media day, but I just think because it was new. Yeah. I don't know anything about Fresno State and Colorado State. I mean, other than, Jim Moore Jr., but I wanted to see it. I don't know that it would be good.
And I also
maybe
think
it gets on Sports Center. Maybe maybe ESPN covers it. I don't know, but it just seemed like an opportunity to kind of promote yourself a little bit. Kind of pat yourself on the back that you've done this, and they decided to punt on it. They
punted on it, and I think one peripheral negative that I didn't think about at the time, and I've thought about it since, is, your colleges, your campuses are recruiting, and I think it does matter to the star players on the team that they get invited and get the stage at an event like that. And so what are you telling future Pac-12 athletes? Hey, we may not do that. We're not going to promote you like the Big 12 did with their players. I don't know if that's a difference maker for a player picking a school, but I think future players care about that stuff.
Okay, so you mentioned it earlier. I was listening to the Trent Bray interview. It was very good. You can go watch it on YouTube. You can listen to it. BFT Unfiltered, John Canzano, all podcast platforms. The empire that is growing there with Canzano Empire. He was very good, very good. He talked about his departure from Oregon State. It's got to be hard. He's an alum, and how it affected him, how it affected his dad. And then I just found him not refreshing, but to say, you asked him, hey, would you want to coach again, a head coach? He goes, well, I'm never going to say never, but he seemed resigned to being, hey, maybe being a coordinator is just kind of my thing. And that's okay. I think sometimes these guys are in this industry and they feel they have to be head coaches, where you don't have to be. Being a great coordinator, a great assistant coach is beneficial to any team you're on.
He's a football coach and he's an outstanding coordinator. I think Kirby Moore might have the best D coordinator in the conference. I mean, that is an advantage. That was a difference-making move, getting Trent Bray in that room. But I also think he doesn't like the media stuff. It's not what he's good at. He's not natural doing interviews. That interview with me was about as good as he gets, but it's only because he and I have talked about 30 times, right? I've had him in that setting over the last 3 years, probably 30 different times, and he was getting better at it. He was terrible when we first started. He was uncomfortable. He was stiff. He's just not a comfortable person in front of the microphone. He wants to coach players. But he also wasn't probably really good with recruits in that way. And I think that hurts you when you're the head coach. You have to be a little bit more of a schmoozer, and you have to be able to stand in front of the room and talk to the donors. And so I think the awareness, hey, it's not what I'm great at, it's not what I love doing, is a good thing. You can make a lot of money as a coordinator in today's world. You got coordinators in upper level of, major college football making, $1.5 million, $3 million a year. But I think it's interesting too that he went to a Texas game after he got fired. He showed up on the sideline at University of Texas game. And I thought, oh gosh, Sark's going to hire this guy and he's going to end up being a D coordinator at a major school. And it's going to be, somebody's going to hire him. I asked him about that. He said, I think he prefers to be at a place like Washington State or Oregon State. I think he prefers the small town. He's familiar. It's comfortable. It's what his dad did. It's what he grew up in. Obviously as a player, it's where he played, Oregon State, but I think he's comfortable in this conference. And where I don't think he's going to be looking to leave and go play someplace else, but I think he'll stay with Kirby Moore wherever Kirby Moore goes.
And I thought about this during the interview. I think it's also a possibility. And again, we all hope that Kirby Moore and this staff have a great deal of success. I mean, right now with that success is going to come other opportunities for Kirby Moore to leave. Yeah. And Kirby Moore's not staying there for 10 years, especially if he's good. He's young. He wants to climb the ladder. Maybe like his brother has aspirations of maybe one day going to the NFL. I don't know. But, maybe that's a fallback option. Maybe Trent Bray takes over there one day.
Here's the thing.
If he's desirous to be a head coach again.
What are you good at if you're an elite coordinator? The thing you're really good at is adjusting. Yeah. Bray said something in that interview, and if people listen to it, you'll get it. During the pandemic, he talked to the scoreboard video operator at Reser Stadium and said, hey, after the opponent makes a big play, can you put the highlight up on the screen? Because as a coordinator, he wanted to see immediately what went wrong with the defense. Where was the breakdown? He wanted that film feedback immediately so he could adjust. I talked to former players who have played for Trent Bray. Jaden Grant is one of these. Brian Grant's kid is one of these guys. He's playing in the CFL. Jaden Grant swears by Trent Bray, says he's the best in-game adjustment coach that he ever played for. So let's take that further. As I talked to Bray about being a head coach again, everybody is like, oh no, it was a disaster. He was 0-7, I actually think if you are betting on Trent Bray being that kind of adjustment guy, that he would make adjustments. What would he do different? He knows what he would do different. I was my first question, when I started talking about what went wrong, and he says, well, I would hire differently. I would break down the way the staff, the duties on the staff would be differently. I think he'd be a really good head coach the second time around, much better.
There's a car wash again of Jed Fish. I could take shots here, but I will not. And he's discussing Devon Williams tampering. It's very rich of him to talk about tampering, Jed Fish, with quarterbacks. But saying that this is the reason someone offered him over $2 million to jump in there. He did, and then once he was able to talk to him, he reeled him back in. Okay, fine, whatever. That story's in the past. I maybe we've talked about this before. I don't think there is another player in college football with more pressure on them this year than Devon Williams to deliver.
Yeah,
because that fan base is. I'm telling you, I mean, I have a lot of Husky fans. I mean, that fan base is very split on Devon Williams.
Well, he's got to play. He's got to play. And look, quarterbacks will tell you it's always about their performance. But, he did some things wrong here. And Pat Chun, the Washington AD, I talked to him last week, and, he said, he's tried to learn from this and grow from this. But, he took the offensive line out to dinner. He apologized to all of his teammates. He went to the women's soccer team at Washington and said, sorry for, sort of being overshadowing your success with my drama. He did all that. But if he doesn't play well, the fans are going to turn on him. And I actually think his own locker room will turn on him. I think everybody's doing the kumbaya thing right now, but I have to think there are players in that locker room who are looking at the way that went down. And if things do not go well with Devon Williams Jr., they're not going to have his back. He wasn't there with them. He was doing what was best for himself. And I think you're going to get sort of that air around him. But if he is successful, I think everyone's going to jump on and say how great it is. And I just think it is. There's an elevated level of risk here.
I think there's just a lot. I am fascinated by how he responds to this because I think there's just so much pressure that is placed on him externally. I think internally for himself is how does he want to play? How much does he want to show and prove to people and earn their trust back? But does that affect the way that he plays? When the first time he throws an interception or makes a bad pass, will he be booed? I mean, all of it. It'd be fascinating to see how the kid delivers it. All right,
I'm not bad against him though, because I've seen that guy.
Great football player.
He is a fantastic player, and I'll spin it positive. If you're Jed Fish, Jed's never going to say this publicly, but maybe this is what Devon needed. Maybe he needed a little bit of extra to make him bear down and focus. And he's got something to prove. I mean, I'll spin that chip on his shoulder. Devon Williams Jr. might be fun to watch.
For sure. Absolutely. All right. Before you go, there's this rumor out there. You put it to rest. Oregon State, Big 12.
Yeah. Rumor right now. Okay. Look, if the Big 12 wanted Oregon State, Boise State, UNLV, Memphis, they would have taken them in the last round. But the inflection points for all these realignment expansion moves are always the media rights deals. And these deals are not up until 2031, 2032, 2034, 2036. So you're going to get movement, but we're not going to get it for a few years. The reason this is coming up is because of this Save or Protect College Sports Act that's in Congress. Everybody's seeing the language around locking the Power Four down, and it's sparking sort of these splinter groups that are out there doing podcasts who are saying, oh, there's something coming. There's some smoke here. The Big 12 should move now. Look, you go look at Memphis. Memphis offered the Big 12 more than $200 million to join. They were going to buy their way in. And at the expiration of the grant of rights, Memphis was willing to say, hey, you don't have to keep us beyond the initial grant of rights. And the Big 12 said, not interested. Brett Yormark's conference is not looking for more mouths to feed right now. They are looking to squeeze revenue, and they'll sell it to Monster Energy Drink or whoever to try to get it. And so it doesn't make any sense to me. But still, I'm going to run out every ground ball. So I reached out to sources at Oregon State yesterday. I said, tell me what's going on here. This feels like clickbait to me. There's some smoke here, and over and over again, I got, it's clickbait. It's smoke. I think Oregon State and Boise State and everybody else in the Pac-12 is focused on trying to get to a conference like the Big 12, trying to better themselves, trying to win and get to the playoff in the next year or two or three or four. But I don't think there's any movement right now. And I do think the legislation, Mike Baumgartner, the senator in your state, has told me that he is focused on making sure that the language in that bill does not preclude teams in the group of six from moving up. It would keep what happened to the Pac-12 from happening again.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to avoid a massive implosion of a conference again.
Well, great stuff. Check them out Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays exclusively there on YouTube, BFT Unfiltered, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays just on the audio podcast platforms. You get them 5 days a week, all brought to you by Adidas. Do they say Adidas or is it Adidas?
They say Adidas.
Get it in there. Come on.
There you go.
How come you're not wearing Adidas? Get the Adidas gear. You should be full Adidas gear. I want you to have face paint on that says Adidas.
You know what's cool about Adidas? Because I talked to Nike, I talked to Adidas, I talked to I'm more the merrier, right? And
yeah,
the cool thing was Adidas was like, we just want to sponsor the show. We don't need editorial oversight. We don't need to be meddling with who you have as guests. And they were like, we don't even care who the other sponsors are. There were other sponsors who said, if you're going to have Adidas, we can't be involved.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, they were happy that Jamba came in. It's good, comfortable in their shoes, I should say.
It's good. Well, congratulations. Great stuff. It's a must watch and a must listen. Continued success, and we appreciate you joining us every week.
Thanks, man.
All right, see you. There he is. John Canzano, johncanzano.com. If it's fun you desire, it's fun you're going to get at Flat Stick Pub. It doesn't matter what the occasion is, whether it's date night, guys night, ladies night, or large group event, Flat Stick Pub's got you covered. They have 6 great locations across the Pacific Northwest, from Pioneer Square to Kirkland, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. All locations offer the best pub experience in Washington. 2 rules at Flat Stick Pub: drink local and have fun. Pretty simple. So if you like to have fun, love local beer, and great tasting food, make Flat Stick Pub your next spot. Visit them at flatstickpub.com.
Drink Georgetown Tavern Beer, your new locally brewed domestic style lager. 4.2% alcohol. Cheap, good, local.
We are about a month away from the Seahawks' first preseason game as they take on the Dallas Cowboys. Football season is almost here. I'm not ready for it yet. I'm not, but our next guest is always ready for football. Well, he's ready for both footballs. He's got a different football that he's really concentrated on right now, but then there's this other football that he's looking forward to, ready to get going here in the next few weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, from England, he joins us throughout the football season. Well, I hope he does. I hope he's back. He may say, pound sand, I'm not coming back on your stupid show again. It's Rob Staton from SeahawksDraftBlog.com. Of course, great work there at SeahawksDraftBlog.com. But he is all on, I don't want to say European football. It's just football. We should call it American football. His team, England, 1 win away from the championship. 1 win away from getting into the championship game. How do you like your odds?
I'm actually quite confident about this game. I am a something of a broken man. I honestly, Puck, over the years, I've been I felt this was my time to shine. A World Cup in the States. A lot of the games are late at night over here. Obviously, the next 2 are not, and that's caused a lot of issues in America. But I thought I'd be able to handle this. And on Saturday night, I watched the game with my dad. He got carried away and kept bringing various types of alcohol out. And then when England won the game against Norway, it got worse. And then before you knew it, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't get an Uber home because no one had picked me up at 4 a.m. So I thought, well, I'll just walk. And it took an hour and 10 minutes. I got into the house about 6. I had about 2 hours sleep. And do you know what? I still haven't recovered. I had to do some work stuff today at 7 o'clock in the morning, which meant I had to get up very, very early. And I'm absolutely smashed. Like I've got no energy left at all.
I feel guilty for asking you to come on.
No, don't.
Just being over there for the last 2 weeks, we were in Spain, that time difference, it's crazy. I'd wake up in the morning and be like, hey, well, I can talk to somebody right now for a few minutes before they go to bed, and then I can't talk to them again for another, 8 hours or so, 9 hours. It's crazy. Well, we were watching it. We were pulling for Norway. We're a Norwegian family, but congratulations to your English team as they were victorious. It's fun. It's funny. I've watched more of your football soccer, we call it over here. I've watched more of this in the last month than I've ever watched in my entire life, and it's been fun.
It's been a great tournament, and I have to say I've never wanted anything more in my life than a win tomorrow.
Yeah, I bet. I can only imagine. I can only imagine what it means to you and people in your country just watching. We watched 3 different matches while we were vacationing in Spain with people, and just to watch them and the up and down nature of it, and just biting their fingernails, going through cigarette after cigarette after cigarette because they're so damn nervous watching them play. I can only imagine, especially when it's your country. All right. Seahawks making huge news. They're finally sold $9.6 billion. I mean, it's just incredible. I know that had been speculated anywhere between 8 and 10. It's an amazing figure, especially with what the Commanders went for a few years ago. If you go back 4 years ago, Broncos got like $4 million, and the Seahawks coming off the Super Bowl, those teams were not, are sold for almost $10 billion. What do you make of the new ownership group, of what we've probably all read together about who they are?
Well, based on what limited information is out there, I think the initial diagnosis is that it's quite encouraging. I think that the way that the father speaks, he has done a podcast, which I've seen various clips from, and I think that he will do the right stuff when he gets in there. I think he's going to learn about the Seahawks. I think he's going to challenge John Schneider and Mike McDonald and the various people that work for the Seahawks in the right kind of way. Mike McDonald's approach has always been to chase edges. He speaks in a very similar way about that. I've looked at some of the background of him and his family, and again, I would say that it's quite encouraging. I think there were a number of individuals who fans probably would not have accepted buying this team, and he's not one of those people. Yes, I genuinely think it was a poor thing that there was one individual suggesting that like a local individual was lurking in the background, because I think that got people's hopes up, and those people who got the hopes up, I wasn't one of them, will have, because I'm not local anyway, but they will have perhaps been a bit disappointed that it's not someone from Seattle who's a card-carrying Seahawks fan.
Yeah, I think there was a difference there. I think that you can speculate, or you can at least, I think the better way we're talking about Greg Bell. I mean, I don't care. We can mention his name. I'll mention his name. I think you can come out and say, hey, listen, would Steve Ballmer be interested? Because that's who he's talking about. Would Steve Ballmer be interested in buying the team?
Yeah.
But that's not how it was portrayed. It was portrayed that he's lurking and he's going to make a bid at the final minute. And there is zero evidence of that at all. In fact, I had a guy on yesterday by the name of Mark Gannis. I don't know if you know who Mark Gannis is, but he's the founder and president of Sports Corp, which is a consulting firm that deals with all of the leagues, all of the teams, everyone when it comes to relocation, stadium refinance, ownership change, everyone. And he consulted with the Commanders, he consulted with the Broncos, and he told me, he goes, it wasn't that Ballmer reached out to him. He says the group, whether it was the Allen family themselves or the company, which was ironically named Allen as well, that was overseeing the sale, reached out to Steve Ballmer. And according to him, said Ballmer just declined it. And it's been widely speculated, and because she said in an interview, his wife just wants one team. Like, you own the Clippers, that's it. You're not going to own anyone else. But yeah, I being a Seattle native, I wanted him. I wanted him desperately, because Steve Ballmer, I mean, I know he's got some issues with the Clippers, but he's a Seattleite. He lives here still. He doesn't even live in LA, and he's a passionate guy, and that's what you want from your owners. But you know what, didn't happen. And I think we now go in with this new group with, just open arms. Like, I don't know anything about them, and we'll just sit there like the rest of us, wait and see what they do.
It's exactly that, isn't it? You just have to, we're probably not going to know what they're like as owners for 2 or 3 years' time. Sure. And even then we might not fully understand it, because you may sort of see a business as usual approach for the first 2 or 3 years, and their influence might not come until, let's say, John Schneider's eventually moved on, which will happen at some point. And then you may well get a real sense for who they are as a family and as owners. I think you kind of look for things like that sort of shape your opinion at a time like this. And all of the things that I've heard or talked about with people or things that have been shared, I think are encouraging. So I'm prepared as a Seahawks fan living on the other side of the world to just see how this goes. And I think that would be the right thing to do.
Yeah. I just want to, how will they handle it? In a few years when the lease is up on the arena, or excuse me, on the stadium, what are they going to do? How much do they ask for the public to chip in on that? Will there be any talk of them trying to find another spot in the area? I don't see how that's possible. There really isn't another spot that would make sense, especially, I think where they're located. I'll bring it back to the World Cup. I mean, you look at all these World Cup venues, Seattle is by far and away the best one because it's actually in a city. You can walk out of the stadium and walk to things where most of these stadiums, you can't do that. So it is appealing on that front, but we'll wait and see what they do. I don't think there's any fear. Some people here, and I understand it because of the scar tissue with what happened to the Sonics. Scar tissue even what happened to the Seahawks when the Nordstrom sold them, that this group would try to relocate because they're from California. They're not going to relocate. Where would they go? Where is there another city that is as good as this in this country? There's none. That doesn't have an NFL team. Zero. There's absolutely zero.
If anybody's worried about that, and I can understand, like you say, there's perhaps some PTSD about previous ownerships, but the teams that even the Arizona Cardinals wouldn't get moved at this point. Like there's no the teams where they don't have sort of passionate, vibrant fan bases with waiting lists for season tickets. Like there's no chance. There is more chance of me winning haircut of the year than the Seahawks being moved. So I don't think anybody needs to worry about any of that. I genuinely think this, Puck. You obviously have the historic franchise in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers, the New York Giants, stuff like that. But if we're talking about the modern day NFL, the Seahawks are a blue blood franchise. They are an elite franchise. They've had enough success. They've won a couple of Super Bowls. They've been to a couple of others. So they are right at the top there. They are one of the few teams who have got virtually zero chance of ever being moved.
Yeah. There is no worry of that happening at all. All right. Training camp, rookies report, I think, on Friday. And then the full squad is a week after on July 24th. And heck, they've got their first game. It was the first preseason game is coming up like on August 15th, I think, against the Cowboys. It's here. It's upon us. And as you look forward to it with the rookies reporting and then the full squad coming up the next week, where yet? I mean, last time we talked, we were talking about, kind of some offseason storylines. Nothing really has happened much in the offseason, but, you've had a few stories coming out. The Rams have got a lot of attention this offseason. Other teams have got a lot of attention other than the team that won the Super Bowl. And me, for one, thinks that's the greatest thing that could happen to this team.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of things for me that are really sort of occupying my mind with the Seahawks. The first one is this the situation that I wrote about last week about Leonard Williams, because you've seen these, and look, we can't overreact. I mean, the linebackers one that the rankings that ESPN have put out today are absolutely balmy, but the defensive tackle one had Leonard Williams as the top ranked defensive tackle, and you and I, Puck, have had many conversations about the quality of Leonard Williams over the last couple of seasons, what a top player he is. And when you see that, and then you recognize that, oh yes, he is in a contract year now, and who knows what the aims of or the ambitions of his are, because we were talking a little bit like, please don't retire at the end of last season, and he may well think, you know what, I've got another year in me, or a year or two, and he might not want to do a contract extension. I legitimately would be willing to say to him, what is it going to take to tie you down for 3 more years? Like Jeffrey Simmons has just signed a contract worth, I think, about $35 million a year. I would happily, if I can get Leonard Williams to commit for another 3 years with the Seahawks, I would do it now. I think he knits everything together on that defensive line. It's going to be impossible to replace him. I remember writing a piece in 2014 after Marshawn Lynch had just run over the Raiders and the Giants, saying, you know, I absolutely dread the thought of having to replace this guy. Like when the Seahawks are struggling, they turn to Marshawn, and that was so true. When he moved on, it was like a huge void was left in the team. And I think when Leonard Williams ultimately bows out, it's going to be exactly the same thing, irrespective of how well Byron Murphy's playing. There's just a very different player, or how someone like Riley Mills can develop. Leonard Williams needs to be in Seattle for as long as he's prepared to play football. So I would be interested to see over the next 6 weeks whether maybe is a report of any talks, or at least something about whether they would be interested in doing a deal there, or maybe even a deal emerging. I'll be very interested in that. And the other thing that I'm interested in is obviously this Aaron Donald news with the Rams. And I just say, bring it on, Puck. I actually think this might backfire for the Rams. It sounds great, doesn't it? Myles Garrett, Aaron Donald, the existing defensive line. And perhaps it will be. Perhaps they will just romp the season. But when you get these super teams, they very rarely live up to expectations. And I just wonder if this is that extra ingredient into the soup which makes it taste crap. So that we'll just see.
I want to share your outlook and your optimism. I don't want to see him back. I don't want to see that guy anywhere near the football field. It scares the life out of me. I want him to stay. I would tell Aaron Donald, if he's listening, watching this, and why wouldn't he be? Retirement's fun. Kick your feet up. Enjoy. Get fat. You know what? Enjoy it. You've accomplished everything. You don't need to accomplish anything more.
Retirement is definitely fun when you are a multimillionaire.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm never going to experience that. So that's never in the cards for me. All right. What about, are you concerned at all? We sit here July 14th. We're not in training camp yet, so it can happen. But there's been no kind of chatter about Devon Witherspoon and the contract.
No, I'm not concerned. That the thing that actually I'm encouraged, because there is chatter coming from New England. They have the same agent, Christian Gonzalez and Devon Witherspoon. And I noticed in the last few days that the New England media are now, they're speculating a little bit about how he fits into the locker room and his personality and whether he tackles enough. Like, his tackling's not good enough. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, this sounds very much like the kind of media negotiation that used to take place involving the Seahawks over the years, like where you would have, Russell Wilson. He's the back and forth between team and players' agents in the media. It felt a little bit like that. And we've not heard a peep from the Witherspoon thing, which makes me think, here's how it might work out, that the Gonzalez and Patriots negotiation might get a little fraught, but ultimately get done eventually. And then maybe about 2 days later, Devon Witherspoon's going to sign his deal with no fuss, and that's fine by me. So I'm completely relaxed about that one. I must admit.
Okay, last thing for you. Since you guys did, your break from Europe, because you have to be your own thing. The thing that I love about visiting Europe, and I haven't been to England I haven't been to England since I was a kid. It's been a long time. Do you guys? I think one of the greatest, most underrated things about my visits to Europe are on the water bottles or the Coke is the bottle cap.
Yeah.
The fact that do it, show everyone what it does.
So, well, I don't know if this is it, you tell me, is this the case in Spain? But over here, they are attached.
They are attached. The caps are attached. I think it's one of the greatest things that's ever been invented. And whoever did that and came up with that idea should receive a Nobel Peace Prize. And why we don't do it over here is beyond me.
How was Spain? Where did you go?
We went to, it was wonderful. Those people know how to live. Everybody should live like that group lives. Everyone. It's unbelievable. We went to a place called, you ever been in Nerja down in the south, kind of by Malaga? Then we went to Granada, where it's kind of up in the mountains. That's where my wife studied when she was in college. Went there for like 6 months. Then we went to Valencia, which is back down on the water. Then to Barcelona. And then we ended in Madrid. Wonderful.
Excellent. Yes, I have been to a few places in Spain, but not some of those. But it is a great place. I think Europe's amazing. I'm going to Hungary next week with work, and then the week after I'm in Germany, covering our football. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And it's I think every European country is a little bit different than the next. They're all very unique. My wife's uncle lives in Spain, and it's good to go and visit him from time to time. So. Amazing. Everyone in America should try and visit Europe.
It's good. It's good for you. All right. Good luck. I hope you bring it home for your sake. I just would love to talk to you next time we speak. that you are celebrating. So good luck to you, and good luck to your country.
Thank you very much.
There he is.
Come on, England.
All right, Sarah. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. See ya.
Drink Georgetown Tavern Beer, your new locally brewed domestic style lager. 4.2% alcohol. Cheap, good, local.
I mentioned that, and again, thanks to Rob Staton, SeahawksDraftBlog.com. And again, he'll join us throughout the football season. I was just kind of playing around, but he's back with us. I'd mentioned to Rob that yesterday I had on Mark Gannis, who is the founder and president of Sports Corp. And again, it's a consulting firm that looks at all things in sports, professional teams, and leagues, and they advise them on financial matters. And Mark is he worked with the Broncos on their sale. He advised them then. He advised the Commanders on their sale. And we got into discussing the Seahawks. Was this a good sale? Did he feel that this is the right ownership group? The amount of money that was spent, did that surprise him? Also, I asked him about whether or not, because there was a few different groups. There was 4 groups total, 2 that we kind of knew about and 2 kind of that were lying in the weeds. And I asked him, was one of those groups led by Steve Ballmer?
Steve Ballmer always had the opportunity to step up if he wanted to. Clearly, his focus is on basketball and on the Clippers. And so, but if he wanted to step up for this, he could have certainly picked it off.
We haven't heard anything that would suggest that he ever made any type of informal or formal bid.
More so, even I know he was reached out to and declined to go forward.
So there's Mark Gannis saying he was reached out to by someone associated with the Seahawks sell and declined to pursue it any further. If you want to watch or if you want to listen to that, first of all, my mic sucks on it because I hit the wrong mic settings when we recorded it, which is on me. I'm blaming jet lag still. And it's for Puck's Posse members. It's about 15 minutes. If you can sign up, you can go to pucksports.com and you can go listen to the full thing. If you want to listen to it, you're like, hey, man, I don't think you're worth the $5. And you are right. Send me an email, and I'll give you access to it, pucksports.com. All right, real quickly, Puck's Majors Golf contest. Again, get your picks in sooner rather than later. Remember, it's going to start Wednesday night, so get your picks in if you're playing in the Puck's Majors Golf Challenge, brought to you by Wonderland Turf. Wonderland Turf, premier design and build specialist for high-end and custom greens right here in Seattle. If you're interested in changing your yard, wonderlandturf.com. Ask for Brian. Tell him Puck sent you. Give him a call at 425-359-1903. Grand prize, again, is a round of golf, 2 rounds of golf at Gamble Sands at either Scarecrow, Gamble, and also a twosome there at Quicksands. If you'd like to book a stay and play, and if you've never stayed there, go stay there at GambleSands.com. Big thanks to Sandman Sports, Gamble Sands, Wonderland Turf. Also big thanks to Premier Golf, because second place you get a foursome and a cart at one of their Premier Golf locations. Also third place is an Eagle Range card, valid for range balls at Inter Bay, Jackson Park, and Bill Wright. Puck's Major Golf Challenge, final edition with the Open Championship coming up this week. All right, let's get to On This Day, brought to you by Hive Social.
Welcome to Hive Social, the social network that brings your real-world proximity to life. Tired of endless scrolling and fake connections? Privacy is built into the heart of Hive with easy-to-set-up safety fences and visibility controls. Whether you're here to hang out, network, or meet someone new, create events, share photos and videos, and keep the conversation going with built-in chats for every connection and every moment. Download now and see what's happening around you.
All right, On This Day, brought to you by Hive Social, is taking place here on July 14th. What happened on this day in July 14th? 1992, the All-Star Game in Major League Baseball, taking place in San Diego, America's finest city. The American League knocks off the National League 13-6. A guy by the name of Ken Griffey Jr. was named the MVP.
23 years old, and he's been in 3 straight All-Star games.
That's well hit to left. Bonds on the run, looking up, and it is gone.
That's wild.
A line drive, opposite field home run for Ken Griffey Jr.
And the first home run ever by a Seattle Mariner. How proud they must be up Seattle way.
The kid was 3 for 3 at the plate. He had a single, a double, and a home run there off Greg Maddux. He drove in 2 with the award. Jr. joined his pops senior, and who won the award in 1980 as the first father and son duo to ever win the award in Major League Baseball history. It's never been done since then. All right, also happening on this day over in the entertainment world, on July 14th, 1989, this movie made its debut when Harry met Sally, that offered probably one of the greatest movie scenes in theater history.
Oh, God. Ooh, oh, God. Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh, yeah, right there. Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh. Yes. 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 Oh. Oh, yes. 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 Oh. Yes. 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 Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh.
I'll have what she's having.
One of the greatest scenes ever, and the delivery there at the end, that was Rob Reiner's mother there at the end. Certainly one of the biggest, greatest scenes there in movie history, especially the line delivered by Rob Reiner's mom at the end. Again, director Rob Reiner, rest in peace. Initially offered the role of Tom, not Tom Hanks, but Billy Crystal. Albert Brooks and Tom Hanks originally were offered both of those roles. The character played there by Billy Crystal. And for the Meg Ryan role, she was not the first choice. The first choice was Molly Ringwald. Seems weird. I can't imagine Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan not being the two that star in that. The movie grossed over $193 million worldwide. All that happening on this day, July 14th, brought to you by Hive Social. All right, we end every show with one final word. We call it Hey, What the Puck. It's brought to you by Tersuli Construction, restoring what matters and building what's next. Give them a call, 206-793-3744. Visit their website, tersuli.com. We played the home run there from Griffey in the All-Star game. We had the home run derby last night. Despite it being on Netflix, and I had all problems. Maybe it was just my connection. It kept cutting in and out. I wish it would just be on regular TV rather than Netflix. But I love the home run derby. I love everything about the baseball All-Star festivities, the game, everything that goes around with it. It's fun. It's exciting. It's what sports is all about. And I think baseball captures it better than anyone other than putting it on Netflix. I like the stars for the most part that participate in the big stars. I mean, you saw Kyle Schwarber, and you saw Caminero, and of course Bryce Harper, and these guys participating in it. You see these other sports and the big stars don't do anything. It was so much fun to watch Jordan Walker getting booed every time and then walking down and defeating Kyle Schwarber. He's 6 down with 3 swings left. It was incredible, especially with all the boos raining down on him. And then watching it afterwards, his family, that was the damn cutest family ever, celebrate with him on the field. That was the cherry on the top. It is our national pastime, and despite its many flaws, and it's got many, it delivers more often than not every single year. Just love the home run derby. It's one of the best, and it's so much fun every single year to watch it. All right, that's Hey, What the Puck, brought to you by Tersuli Construction, restoring what matters and building what's next. All right. That's it for us here on a Tuesday. Thank you for everyone watching and listening to today's show. Thank you to all our sponsors. Find the Daily Punch-Up up on YouTube when you're there. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Leave a comment. Try to get to as many as we can. Also, you can find the Daily Punch-Up on your favorite audio podcast platforms, Apple and Spotify. If you got a second, please review the show, rate the show. That would help. Also, check out pucksports.com. You can sign up to become a Pucks Posse member. We give you bonus shows throughout the week. Later today, you'll get the Sports Pit with Matt Stretch Johnson. Tomorrow, Inside Pitch with Ryan Divish. And Thursdays, KJ Arntz with Mitch Levy. Coming out later today, we now produce the Garage with Gas Take 5 podcast. In fact, it is out right now if you go check it out on all podcast platforms. All right, that's it for us. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Wednesday's show, the go-to guy will be back. And also we'll talk with Ryan Divish. We'll give you a little snippet of our conversation with Divish coming up on Wednesday's Daily Puck Drop. Go Spain. Good luck to them. Love to see you in the championship. We'll see you tomorrow. As always, promise to be better.
No shirt, no shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you, but you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for? We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!